So after that, Tom, I'm pretty sure Duke, the #1 team in the country. I would hope unanimously, but you never know with the voters after that. Anyway, let's look ahead to another big weekend of college lacrosse. We're going to start in the Big Ten with our picks. An interesting game. I think a big one for both of these teams between Penn State and Hopkins.
Yeah, both 1 and 2 in conference play. As we know, Big Ten only playing conference games this year, so it's very important. The last time these two met, May 4th, 2019, that epic overtime 18-17 win for Penn State. It was an incredible atmosphere. Won't get the atmosphere this time around, but maybe it'll be just as competitive considering how these teams have started. TJ Malone for Penn State in their win over Ohio State. Took 12 shots, 5 goals, 2 assists. You're looking for somebody to sort of take control of that offense and open things up for Mac O'Keefe. Like what he did there. Hopkins, it's so hard. They've got Epstein, but other than that, someone else has got to step up. I don't think they're going to have enough to do it against Penn State. 12-9 Penn State is my prediction.
All right. You're a little bit lower scoring than I think this game's going to be. Look, Penn State's 1 and 2. But they played Rutgers really tough, and you look at what Rutgers has done since, that does not look like a terrible loss. We're obviously, and then the other loss is to Penn State, or is to Maryland, which was a hard-fought game. They gave it all. I like this Penn State team still, despite they would have benefited a lot from a non-conference slate to be able to get into Big Ten play, especially without trying to figure out this offense without Grant Amen. I like Penn State 14-11.
14-11. I had 12-9. You have a little higher scoring.
A little higher scoring.
I'll take the next one here. Maryland-Rutgers. This is the premier matchup, I think, of the weekend in the Big Ten at the very least. Both teams are 3-0. Both teams have looked amazing so far. I mean, they've looked dominant both offensively and defensively. Nick Grill for Maryland's won Defensive Player of the Week in the Big Ten 3 straight weeks. I'm pretty sure that's every single game, right? 3 games, 3 straight weeks.
That's it.
So, I mean, he's been great going up against this Rutgers offense, which has looked basically like world beaters at this point. I mean, they've 11 goals, like you mentioned, hard-fought victory against Penn State, 22 against Ohio State, 22 goals against Michigan. Charlin Beatties, Mullins, and Kirst not going to get the job done. I think Maryland has still been there, done that. They're 30-1 all-time against Rutgers. I think Maryland wins this matchup 15-12. Rutgers gets them back later on in the year. I think this is one of those things where Rutgers kind of figuring out they know how talented they could be and their potential. They're going to get tested here against Maryland the first time around and learn from that, and later on in the year be better, even better at that. They'll win next time, not this time.
This game being at Maryland, I think, is an edge for the Terps. Despite the fact that limited to no fans, I still think being at home means something. You're comfortable in the big stadium. I also like Maryland. There's something about the Terps, and until somebody comes and beats them, this happens every year. Like, this Maryland team is well coached. They're consistent. They get the job. We've seen good Rutgers teams to start years, and they haven't kept that through. Consistency has been an issue. Let's see if they can consistently keep this up throughout the season. Until that, I'm going Terps. I'm close to your score, 15-13. I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but still a 2-goal win for Maryland.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Yeah. Let's go to the Big East. A game that was supposed to happen on Saturday has now been moved to next Tuesday. A giant game in the Big East. Georgetown heading out to Denver. Game moved due to a big snowstorm in Denver, headed there this weekend. So when we do get to see it, who do you like, Hoyas or Paya?
Yeah, it's been rescheduled for Tuesday now, and I am leaning now towards Denver in this matchup. I think after a couple of games, both of these teams sort of settling in a little bit more. And Georgetown, yeah, they were unbelievable on defense. They gave up 1 goal against Villanova, 1 goal against St. John's. Villanova and St. John's, you know, this isn't the real deal yet for them. And Mount St. Mary's, obviously things escalated a little bit more there. 5 goals and 13 against Marquette. So these are all the goals that Georgetown's given up. Denver, on the other hand, I think now maybe they're finally starting to click a little bit more. They scored 23 goals against Providence, 20 goals against St. John's. Kotler, Morrill, those guys coming in. I think now is the time where they're going to start, and especially in a big game, I really trust Bill Tierney in a big battle where he's able to prepare for a team, and now he's got a couple more days to do it. I have Denver 14-11 against Georgetown.
I swear we didn't talk about these picks beforehand. I also agree with you.
Wow.
on the Denver side of things. Not with the score, though.
Yeah, what do you got?
So the interesting thing in this matchup, one of the X factors, Gibson Smith, All-American defenseman for Georgetown. They've been okay without him due to injury, but I think when you step up the level of competition and you have to go to Denver and play this Pioneers team, I think that hurts them. I think this game's more lower scoring. I think both of these defenses at times have shown the ability to lock down. Denver's only given up 10 goals per game. Obviously, you fit on Georgetown. They're giving up 5 goals per game so far. The level of competition comes up, but I still think the defenses are pretty good. I give Denver a 10-9 edge. I think this is low scoring on a Tuesday, maybe a little sloppy to start because of the unusual schedule and time for this one, but ultimately I like Pios by 1.
Single-digit goals for Georgetown. We talked a lot about their defense. That single-digit for that offense is still pretty low in my mind at the very least. That's interesting because they can score too.
I think the pace of this game is played. Denver plays at their pace.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to need to do to win. They can't try to run with Jake Caraway and company because I think at that point, if it gets up to 18-19, I like Georgetown.
Yeah, I think that's a good point for sure. Let's go to the women's side of things. Boston College, Virginia, a really intriguing matchup in the ACC. Boston College coming off that blowout loss to North Carolina. Sort of just throw that out at this point.
Everybody loses like that.
North Carolina, it is what it is. Virginia has coasted this year, 5-0. They lost Sammy Mueller in the offseason, transferred over to Northwestern, but they've been still able to get the job done, Virginia. And I really like what McGovern's done as long as Ann Dyson, their junior, 17 draw controls. She got hurt last year towards the last few games before the pandemic hit. She's a big X factor for them, and she scored 9 goals, 3 assists this year for Virginia. But I am leaning a little bit more towards the Boston College side of things. 13-10 BC. Belle Smith playing out of the midfield for BC.
She's terrific.
I think that maybe this is her time. She scored once against North Carolina, but I think might be breakout time for the freshman. 7 goals, 3 assists. We all know what Charlotte North can do. But you got someone in Belle Smith who I think can be an X factor moving forward for Boston College. And you come off a North Carolina game, I just like the vibe. It's like, all right, played the best, didn't beat the best. Let's get back out there and beat another team that's unbeaten.
Yeah, I think, if you're going to have a lot of really good teams that play North Carolina this year that end up getting beat up pretty good. We've seen it. We saw it with Duke. I think Duke, the women, are a pretty good team still, but that North Carolina team's maybe a level on its own. Yeah. I also like BC. Once again, I can't believe we agreed on all of these.
Wow, the score is going to be big this week.
I think this is going to be higher scoring. I'm going 17-15. I think, look, this BC offense, you hit on, they can score. I like this to be like a bit of a track meet, but I like the Eagles in the end. The BC by 2.
Okay, all right. I like that. That's a good thought. It's going to be a good weekend. Can't